Barkeep, Curtis.
Noah, great to be here as always, man. Cardigan season, huh?
Whiskey of the year.
Whiskey of the year season.
I was excited for this episode. I mean, we talked, I think, last episode at this point. This was an absolute marathon of a year for us.
Yeah.
We were just huffing and puffing, tasting this whiskey, this really damn good whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Life's hard, you know?
Unless you were Baker 7 High Rye, then...
Yeah, we didn't really think about doing worst whiskeys of the year. That probably would have topped our list.
Yeah.
But anyway, the purpose of this episode is the best whiskeys of the year, not the worst whiskeys of the year. So we're going to do two different things tonight. We're going to roll through our top 10 best whiskeys we tried this year, regardless of price. So we're going to do a senses only list, if you will.
Yep.
And then the main attraction is, with price included, our top 10 whiskeys of the year, taking into account bang for the buck, our overall top 10, man. I'm very excited. It's going to be sick.
Yes. Holiday was our whiskey of the year last year.
Yes.
This is why I decided to pour today.
Yeah.
So shout out to them. Win all the blinds.
The Holiday, it won all the blinds, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And it's right in our backyard, you know?
So, whiskey of the year, number 10, senses only.
Do it.
Remus 8.
Good stuff.
We love it.
Yeah.
Remus 7 did, I think, top 3 last year. Senses only, and that was bang for the buck as well.
Yeah.
The old whiskey that you're getting in here is extremely well done. It's just a great pour,
Yeah.
and it's everywhere. And I've seen it on sale for like $85, and I'm pretty sure we bought this at $100.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good stuff. Like you said, pretty reasonably priced. It's old. It's consistent. Enough said.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking 2007.
Yeah, there's a 2007 whiskey in there, yeah.
Yeah. 9%, but it's in there.
It's
Guess
in there.
what? And yeah, this is unopened because I've already finished the first bottle.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
It's worth a backup, if that says anything.
Well, I
All
guess,
right.
should I keep 10 on here? We can just double bottle it?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. We have a big table.
Gives me something to do.
Number 9. We have the Smoke Eye Hill, 82.5. This also tied with the Remus, I guess. So you could say
Actually
tied
did.
for 9th for these two. We did this, 3 months ago maybe, 4 months ago, in a kind of like, can it take down Stag Junior type of situation.
Yeah.
And
It did.
it did. It's fantastic. It's not the easiest to find because I haven't run into it.
There has been a handful of emails come out from some of the sites that I at least trust. Love Scotch down below is definitely one of those sites.
Yeah,
Take that
Sealbox
for what
too.
it is.
Yeah.
We bought this from Sealbox, which is also a link below. So do that with which you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not distributed, at least in Missouri. You haven't seen it in Kansas, but it is gettable on some reputable sites.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to break your bank for this either. 80, 90, I believe.
I believe 85. So
Okay, yeah.
You crushed that. Don't
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, really good stuff. It's high heat. It's a kind of blow your socks off type of whiskey, but very, very good.
Well, it's so well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's clear now.
All right, clear it out. We got whiskey number 8,
Okay.
Old Forester, 1924.
The 10-year.
This one had some mixed reviews on WhiskeyTube. Just Google reviews, something like that. Regardless of what you were willing to pay for this bottle, which was overpriced, the senses, once again, the senses on this are fantastic.
It's just a really good, I mean, it's pretty quintessential if I remember correctly, but it's just so well done. Very high quality.
Yeah, the 100 proof is viscous. It's there for days. The brown sugar, vanilla, that banana bread is all through there, but just really well aged, done extremely well.
Yeah. Number 7. We have our Jack 10.
Brown Foreman on Brown Foreman.
Yeah, Brown Foreman had a good year. I mean, what is there to say about the Jack 10? It's not the Jack 12.
Maybe it is.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Maybe it is.
But, I mean, yeah, my God, it's just fantastic.
It's great. It is lower proofed. Sometimes it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
To where you're like, no, I don't need the 120 every single time. This does that extremely well. A lot of barrel influence. I don't think anybody's going to push back on Jack Daniel's 10 over the 1924.
No.
But this one was close. What did we say? We had 83.5 and just 83.
Yeah.
I don't even think we mentioned how we got those scores. So we essentially just took some of the spotlights we did and averaged them out because we like math.
Sure. It's pretty, you just pick the middle of the two numbers. But yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for lower proof whiskeys that are as memorable as Jack 10 is. It's tougher to kind of, make that footprint, if you will. And at 97 proof, this is definitely one of the lower whiskeys on our episode this evening.
Yeah.
So, Jack 10.
All right. So I feel like first surprise bottle of the list for both of us.
Yeah.
I could not believe how well K-Luke did. This was one, saw a couple reviews on WhiskeyTube. I was like, all right, you're speaking dirty to me.
Sure.
I'm going to buy that. I don't know how much different K-Luke is batch to batch. This one's batch 9. Mm-hmm. This one came in at a rocking 84.5, so a full point above Jack Daniel's 10.
Yeah.
Proof helped it, to be fair. I mean, I feel like we're learning and growing, appreciating some of the lower proof, but ultimately, this was traditional bourbon done very well.
Yeah. Similar story of the Old Forester 1924. It's just like, it's done so well, just better than most. So.
Yeah, and I feel confident with this one being above it too.
Sure. All right.
Love it.
Number 5. So we have a bit of a tear jump here if you're a fantasy football fan.
Oh boy.
This is like, your tear jump in the draft. Like after these 4 players, you have a pretty decent step down.
Yeah.
These top 5, pretty decent step up.
Oh boy.
We have our Booker's Reserves 2024. This is the inaugural Booker's Reserves year, correct? I don't remember ever seeing this last year or ever. So this is like the inaugural addition to the Booker's line, Booker's Reserves. Cannot wait for next year's.
This was one we stumbled into somehow to where we do enjoy Booker's. I was like, have you heard of this? You took like a secondary. You were like, it's like $500. I'm like, okay, so this is going to do well somewhere.
Yeah.
And boy, was that refreshing.
Yeah, it's definitely it's similar to your normal Booker's releases in terms of style, but it's just so elevated from that.
For what Booker's has kind of price jumped themselves into, this is kind of what you want it to taste like.
Yeah.
So now you finally get to experience what Booker's was.
Sure.
Or what it should be.
Yeah.
For the price. So it's a bittersweet pour in terms of my soul.
Sure.
But it's sweet and Booker's goodness.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 4, coming in, 89. Take us away. I think I forgot to say that. Sorry, that Booker's Reserves was an 88. So you're coming up from 84.5 in number 6 to an 88. 3.5 points. It's pretty substantial.
Massive tear jump.
Yeah.
This one is one, senses alone, this did so well.
Wonderful
This was
ball.
like, as weird as it sounds, like a flat, creamy Sprite.
That doesn't sound weird.
Oh, man.
That sounds actually delightful.
It was so good. This was one of the first bottles on the channel to where we were talking about the Jack Daniel's 10, and we were like, hey, it's lower proof. I wish it was higher. This was one to where I feel like we finally put our big whiskey pants on and said, hey, let's appreciate a lower proof, and this is that. I could still drink this entire bottle in the summer, though.
Yeah, it's similar to that Jack 10, to where it's so hard when you're lower proof to kind of be memorable because you just don't have all of that ammo to work with. Speaking of ammo, I kind of love this little top here. It looks like like an army hat.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, a helmet, I guess.
So anyway, like the Nectar's 10-year rye, I mean, this was a year-to-year batch. Lucked into this one.
Yep.
I was kind of looking back on the year, and I was like, were there anything that special? And then you start compiling your list, and you're like, man, we tasted some really damn good juice.
Yeah.
This was one where you're talking about that tear jump with the reserves. Nectar's another one to where you're like, this is just a really special bottle.
Sure is. All right. Number 3. Mentioned this earlier. Jack 12. This bringing in at 89.5. This is basically your Jack 10, slightly elevated in terms of heat. I believe it's 100. I just looked at it. I don't know why I didn't register that number in my brain.
Sure.
This is 107 proof. The Jack 10 is 97, so it's a little bit of a tear jump in terms of heat. It's a little bit of a tear jump in terms of quality as well. It's so delightful.
Little,
Pretty big.
Also a massive.
Pretty big.
Massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Jack. It was interesting. We were talking before the show. We were going over the list where it's kind of been kind of quiet on the Jack Daniel's 12 front. Probably because a lot of people can't find it. This is an early release in the year. I'm curious how many other people, because I know this batch was a down batch, and if that's a down batch,
I'd like to hear that.
All here for it.
I'd like to hear about the good batches.
Yeah.
Our silver medal, Senses Only, belongs to. Yeah.
This guy, we love Freddie No. This was kind of this generation's thing, and it is everything you want it to be at $180, $190. I think we picked it up at Total Wine. SRP is $200, so one of the few wins for this guy over here.
Look at you, man.
I'm at least on record saying I would gladly pay $225.
Yeah, same boat. I tried this off channel. You did the spotlight by yourself. Thank you for that.
It had to be in the running.
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat as you. I would pay a good chunk more than what we picked it up for.
Yeah, when you're talking about averaging the scores together, this is one of 2 bottles of the year, hence the silver medalist, that scored in Nectar of the Gods, Senses alone.
Sure. Our winner of the Senses Only portion, so take that for what it is. Price excluded, the best whiskey that we got to try this year.
Hold your audible gasps.
I feel like you might be able to predict this.
Yeah.
We have the Russell's 15. I'm on record saying, before I tried this, to be fair, that the Russell's 13 is my favorite whiskey I've ever tried. The raspberry that's so prevalent in that Russell's 13 blows me away every time I try it.
Love raspberry.
That is a different ballgame.
That is Russell's 13 really shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence, and I love that bottle.
It is a different ballgame.
This is one to where I believe it's 250 SRP. What would you pay?
It's $350. I'd throw another $100 bill on there if I saw $400 and if I had a little buzz. Sure. Yeah, it sets itself so far apart from the rest. We came as close to as perfect as we've ever gotten with a census score, 94.5. That is by far the best score we've given in our 19 months of doing this now, 18 months.
Yeah.
So, all right. Our Senses Only top 10, there you have it. Now for the main attraction, as I said earlier, we want to take into account pricing. Everybody cares about it. If you don't care about it, you're probably not watching us on YouTube because you're just buying anything and everything and having a good time doing it. So
I'm jealous.
Good for you. But if you're watching this channel, you probably care about what you're spending as well. So we have our bang for the buck included, top 10. Start us off.
So one of the things for this channel that we kind of take pride in is our bang for the buck section, to where if you're going to be $250, okay, you can taste like $250, like the Russell's 15. Some of these $50, $75 bottles taste above it.
Sure.
So we want to give them ample credit in terms of when you walk into a liquor store, these aren't going to be your B-Tacs.
Sure.
These aren't going to be your Pappies. This is going to be probably shelfers.
Yeah.
So you're going to see some of the same bottles, but a very different order as well.
Yeah. Without further ado, man, our top 10 whiskey of the year list, the way we score it,
Yeah.
with bang for the buck involved. Number 10,
Please.
Remus 8. So this was actually 10 in both lists.
Yeah.
80, 90 bucks. You might have to pay close to 100 for it. Worth it, and then some, in my opinion. I'd probably pay 105, 110.
Yeah.
So many liquor stores being greedy, I'd probably give in. But yeah, like we said, really, really good, high quality, quintessential pour.
Yeah.
Staple in the whiskey collection.
I'm with you, and especially around the holidays and even New Year's, you kind of get that Gatsby feel with it, to where I think this is a great, for your boss, that $100 bottle. This is one that I would kind of steer people to. You have the transparency on the label of having old whiskey, and
classy.
just a really presentable bottle.
Yeah, very classy look to it as well. Yeah, good stuff. All right.
Great stuff. I was shocked to see K-Luke up here, actually. I think the senses really played a factor into this, to where for $110, it tastes above it.
Yeah.
I think this will do great in a ton of blinds. I think it tastes better than that 110 mark.
Sure.
But 110, people kind of sneeze at sometimes.
Sure.
So this was one to where there were bottles on the census piece where I was like, man, I wish this would have made it.
Mm-hmm.
This was a little surprise when we were going through the algorithm to where it is really damn good whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, it slid, if you take the price into account, it slid from 6th on our census list to 9th, so that
As it should.
It did hurt it a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it's worth $110 and then some, like you said.
Yes. Yep.
Number 8, another repeat offender. Smoke Eye.
This one I had the opposite reaction of.
This one actually scooted up a spot, yeah. So this is only $80, and I mean, what are we talking here? 131.2 proof. This is about as hot as it gets. And like we said, this was like, coined as the stag killer, and it lived up to that billing. And it belongs in the top 10 for that reason, really.
We were able to put it against one of the Stag Juniors. It was extremely close to where you can't find Stag. You don't want to pay $200 for the new Stag releases. This for that $85, $90.
Mm-hmm. Extremely well priced. Yeah. Great stuff.
Another one that we've been talking about, this extreme value, I think you could really even say batch to batch to batch.
Mm-hmm.
You could say extreme value when you're talking age, proof, and that's going to be Elijah Craig, B batch this year.
Yeah.
C batch probably would have been pretty high in our census last year. B batch this year was kind of a banger.
It was a banger, yeah. Yeah, and like you said, we were kind of, what do you call it? Shooting a dead horse. So
Kick it?
It's not kicking a dead horse. Help us out. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of repeat offenders, but there's good reason for that. You're sitting here, $85, $90, 11 years, extremely high quality in terms of what you're getting for that $90. So consistent, like you said, from batch to batch to batch. So it makes sense that at least one of them made this top 10.
Yeah, and we love them. I mean, they're highly sought after for a reason. This one was the banger this year, and I kind of hope that, I'm kind of rooting for A next year. Just
Sure.
mix it up.
Yeah, they've become just an absolute auto buy. Like when you see A124, I'm buying it. On to number 6, Jack 10 again. It scooted up a spot in the bang for the buck included list because it's well under $100. I mean, it's probably, $75, $85. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we hit it on the head earlier. It's just such high quality at a low proof too. You're able to enjoy this year round. You're not, avoiding it when it's 94 in August. So it belongs.
Yeah, it should.
Nothing more to be said.
You just wish that there were more bottles at this point.
Yeah, tough to find.
Why can't we have just more?
It's tough to find. Yeah, I can't penalize it being tough to find though.
No.
I could penalize it if it was tough to find and they hiked the price up $50 because it's tough to find.
And they still kind of could.
Yeah, but they don't.
And you buy it.
Yeah.
All day.
All day and night.
All right. Number 5. Top 5. This was number 2 in our list. Number 5 with bang for the buck included. This seems high. I get it. Not everybody's willing to go above that 150 mark. And I think that you could die on that hill, and I would kind of support it as well. Yeah. But this one, there are just certain bottles that can justify this $200 price range. And like I mentioned before, the Infinite Can, it has 20-year-old whiskey. It's blended, which, kind of that labor of love, if you will.
Yeah, it's so admirable to try something new. That they're so good at that with the little book.
The complexity, going back to chapter 8, chapter 7, which was also a banger for us. This is one that you could spend time with. It's not just sip and forget it. That's what you want in something that's that expensive. Right. So I could sit there and at least, if you see it at $225 and under, you're going to get your money's worth, and that seems absurd to say.
Yeah, there are certain bottles that are just special occasion bottles, and you'll pour them a couple times a year, a few times a year, and then you move on to the next year, and you still got 80% of it left. On to number 4.
Now, this does show the bang for the buck to where you're like,
correct.
At $200, I definitely would rather have 2 of these and pay a little bit more.
Yeah. So this has scooted up a spot on our bang for the buck included list, 120, and it's worth more than that. It's better than 120.
It's what you want the bookers to be.
Yeah.
And sadly enough, you have to pay an extra $20, $30
Yeah,
for it.
it's like if I sat there and just for 20 minutes laid in bed, staring at the ceiling and tried to dream up my perfect Booker's whiskey. That's what it is.
You did it.
Let's go. All right.
We've now entered top 3 Bourbon Barkeep Whiskey of the Year.
Whiskey of the year.
Technically, I mean, this is
Yeah,
the culmination.
I don't give a damn about the census list. That's not how we operate. I give a damn. I give a damn. But you know what I mean?
My tongue does.
We care about price. And this is our list. Top 3.
This is the one I may be most proud of on this channel. Not that we made it or had anything to do with it outside of tasting it.
Sure.
This would be one that is the definition of what this channel stands for, and it's the Green River Full Proof. I will die on this hill with the other guy on the other hill. This is the best buy out there right now.
Correct.
The SRP is $50, at least in the Kansas City area. There are multiple spots that had this at $45, 117 proof. The new batch is actually 118 proof. So I'm kind of curious on the tasting notes if there's any difference. This is also going to be in that tier of, can this take down the Stag Junior at $200?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you said it. This is the only bottle on our top 10 list under $75.
I love it. I'm proud that it's on here. I'm happy it did as well. I kind of expected Smoke Eye to kind of creep in here with the full proof, but $40, it's
Tough to beat.
not the winner. Surprised you all.
The reason this didn't win is because it's $250.
Yeah.
The only reason why it didn't win is because it's $250. The reason why this didn't win is because it's $250. This is by far the best whiskey we've tried this year,
This did win.
but that's about a third of the price.
$90. Is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're taking price into consideration. You're telling me that you're not going to buy 2, 3, 4 of these over the Russell's 15. If I
It'd
offered
be such
you,
a hard mental battle. So if you walked into a store, just think about this. Try to imagine this with it. If you walk into a store and you have one Russell's 15 right here, and you have 3 of these on the other side of the shelf, and you have, let's say, including tax, you have $300 in your pocket. Which side are you taking? That's a very, very tough question to answer.
I'm probably going to go Jack. I got to be honest with you.
Okay. I might go Russell's 15. That's just how the scores worked out.
Yeah.
Is that this was crowned because of its price. The way this tastes at $90 is unfathomable. This was penalized because it's $250. You just have to. It's one of the most expensive MSRPs on the market.
Yeah.
And we die on that hill. I'm going to join your analogy.
You're on a different hill, though.
We got 3 hills.
There's a lot of hills out here. Well, not here, in the mind. Green
Eastern
River.
Kansas has hills.
Yeah, Green River. This was so close to being number 2.
Yeah, I'm bringing this back in.
Yeah, what a year.
We tried a lot of awesome stuff this year. Blessed, grateful. It's been a lot of fun.
We tried a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You all signed up to watch us taste it, which baffles me every time.
Sure.
You all have been extremely kind. So thank you for your grace and patience.
Yeah.
Some of the people have left rather abruptly. So F off.
Speaking of leaving rather abruptly, decent segue.
Appreciate it.
I bid you all farewell for the time being. I have a couple life changes that have taken into effect the past couple months. I've accepted a new job that has me on the road a whole lot more than I used to be. So I'm stepping away from this channel. I'm leaving it in the hands of Curtis. For the time being, I'm not saying I'll never ever be in front of your camera again. Maybe one time I feel like coming over and just peeking in and saying hello.
That's it.
But yeah, I am leaving the channel in your hands. You're the original idea. This was your idea, and I am grateful that you asked me to be a part of your journey. And these 18 months have been a whole lot of fun. So thank you guys for hitting that like and subscribe button. If you've been here the entire way, then hats off to you. We really appreciate it.
And if you were just here for Noah, I respect it. I get it. A lot of people don't know. Noah actually drove 30, 40 minutes sometimes one way. So multiply that by 2. Math whiz.
Yeah, round trip about an hour 15.
Yeah.
So
quite the time commitment. He sucked it up for well over a year. So his time, his patience with me has been very appreciated.
Yeah.
This is amicable. He will be on the channel again.
Yeah.
Probably just not a lot.
More as a guest, like on College Game Day. You know, they invite guys on to make picks. Like that's probably potentially going to be my role every once in a while in the future, and that's going to be awesome. So looking forward to it. But
so, Whiskey of the Year in the books. Congrats to JD12. Definitely congrats to Green River Foolproof for making it against the big dogs.
it did.
This is
an odd threesome right here. Not to get into a sexual
You know what?
avenue here, but this is an odd threesome.
There's always the third person.
Sure.
The way you're like,
How did he get the invite, huh?
you're kidding, right? How much baby oil did you bring?
To you guys, we'll see you in the new year.
Whew.